Hello, readers. Welcome back to the Toppling Tbr. I'm Stacey.
And I'm Hannah. And today we are wrapping up part 3 of One Dark Window. We're going to miss it, but we get to move on to Two Twisted Crowns next. And I like that one more.
I know you keep saying that. I'm excited.
I love it. You'll see why once we start it. Okay. So part 3 is called The Blood. And we
Yes.
left part 2. We wrapped it up right after Ravyn had taken her to the chamber with the One Dark Window and showed her that the stone in the middle is actually where he kept his cards, kind of like a hiding place of sorts.
Oh,
And
I
then,
love it.
yeah, and then it opens with infected blood. And we also learn that the Shepherd King is the nightmare.
Yes, I knew it.
I mean,
Felt it
she
in my
told
soul.
you. She didn't hide it from you at all. She just waited for the big aha moment.
I know, but I was like, but she still hasn't said it. And I'm like, I just feel it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so chapter 29. Elspeth is having this dream and she's running alongside all of these children and there's smoke in the air and they run to the chamber with the One Dark Window. And when they enter, someone is waiting inside for them with a scythe card.
Yes.
And then she coughs up blood and she looks down and she's, coughed it up onto her long, pale fingers. And then she falls and is kind of enveloped by the earth.
Yep.
And then she wakes up in the chamber, believing that she's sleptwalked again.
Yeah.
And she demands to the Nightmare King, she's like, why are you doing this to me? And he tells her that she needed to see something, which I will come back to at the end. So she looks around and the earth all around the stone in the middle is kind of upturned. And at the base of the stone is an inscription. And she realizes that the stone is a gravestone.
Yeah.
And she's like, whose grave is this? Which we find out later.
Yes.
But then she wakes up in her bed and she is filthy and her nails are all broken and stuff. So I guess it's insinuating that she's the one that was digging up the grave.
Yes.
And so she tells the nightmare to leave her alone. And he's like, nah, I protect you over and over again. Not going to do that. And she's
Yeah.
like, well, you only protect me for yourself. The Shepherd King is dead. You're just a monster.
Yeah.
To which he agrees. He's like, yeah, that I am. And then he proceeds to warn her that she has very little time left. And so she leaves and her and Elm go to Spindlehouse for the twins' name day. And Elm informs her that Emery made it back to Castle Stone, barely, and that the king is pissed that he escaped and that one of his destriers was attacked.
Yes.
Because Lyndon, right, was attacked.
Yeah.
But he can't focus on that because he is so obsessed with finding the Twin Elders card.
Right.
And he has no idea where it is.
Right.
So they arrive at Spindlehouse and Jesper and Ravyn are there. And Ravyn walks up to her and kisses her in front of everybody.
I know, that was so cute.
Yeah, taking it out in the open. And he is bruised from training because since Market Day and all of that fiasco, the king has been pushing and training them. So her father is there and he does not have his well card on him. And there was actually a comment that she made that I really enjoyed. She's talking about her sisters and she's like, my sisters are so sheltered. They're made of pearls. She's like, but not me. I'm made of salt. And I loved that.
Okay, so I had a question about that because they say that the spirit of the wood smells like salt. So
Magic smells like salt.
magic. So is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's a magic thing. Okay.
He's basically saying, I'm made of magic, kind of. And they're these sheltered little princess baby pearls, which I enjoyed that comparison.
Yeah, because I wrote the question now. I'm like, ask Hannah about this thing about the salt.
Yeah. So if you notice, like anytime Ravyn taps the nightmare or uses it on her, she smells salt. So anytime magic is being used.
Okay, so the salt is magic. Okay.
Yes. And then right after that, she makes that comparison. I just love Elm. He makes this comment and he's like, twins give me the creeps. And I laughed.
I love Elm.
Yeah. And then the King and Hauth arrive along with Ione. And even though she is not carrying the maiden card, she is still using it. And her Uncle Tern is there, but Opal and her cousins are not. And then also whenever Ione walks up, the nightmare throws out one of his riddles. And it's similar to the one that he did in the beginning of the book, but this one's slightly different. He said, Yellow girl, beauty keen. Yellow girl, noticed, seen. Yellow girl, heart of stone. Yellow girl, cruel queen. So it has I think in the beginning, I should have gone back and looked, but I think it said something about she'll never be queen in the beginning. So now it's shifted to queen.
Didn't spot that.
I'll actually look while we move on.
Yeah, do that.
But yeah, that's what all I had on that one.
Okay, so I actually had a question for you.
What's up?
Like, this whole thing about, like, her father, right? Like, 'cause he
Mhm.
has the card. Now, do you think at this point in the book, if she'd have just said to him, "Papa, I need this fucking card," do you think he would have given it to her? If she'd have just been honest?
Well, now that we know what happens, I think he would have, but I don't know before we found that out that I would have believed he would because they make it out to like, people who have power are greedy and they make it out to be that everybody's just like obsessed with their cards.
Yeah, and that's kinda how I felt about it as well, but I at this point in the book, I was like, "You know what? I think if she had asked for it and said, 'Hey, I need this card. Can you give it to me?' I think he would have done it, and I think that at this point. And that's why I wrote the note down. I'm like, I think he would have given her the card had she asked for it at this
Yeah,
point. And it was
probably.
interesting because obviously we do know what happens later in the book, but I think he would have given it to her had she asked as well.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But in asking, she also would open herself up to have to answer why she needs it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But I think if she say, hey, no questions asked, I need this card. Would you give it to me? And I think he would have said yes. I do. And that was at this point because I wrote this note before I got any further. I was on
Yeah.
chapter 29 and I wrote that note and I was like, I bet he would have done it.
We do know that he would do pretty much anything for her because he kept her
Yeah,
secret of being infected all of these years, even though he was captain and working right underneath the king. And that's a
that's
death
right.
sentence in its own. So I think if he saw that she actually needed it, he might.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at. And I'm like, I think all of this, like, I know it wouldn't have made a great story, but I'm like, I kind of get the feeling that he would do anything for her.
While she's walking around trying to betray and steal from him.
I know that, and that kind of, and I kind of felt icky about that. I don't know. I kind of felt icky.
Yeah, same.
Did you find what you were looking for in the book?
I haven't found it. I'll look it up in a minute though.
Okay, no worries. Are you ready for chapter 30?
Yes.
Okay. So they're putting their plan into action to take the wild card, which again, I still don't think was necessary to be so underhanded, but whatever. This is what they're doing. And they
Well,
slip off while everyone else is in the Great Hall. Now they've made the decision that they have to split up. And honestly, at this point, I was like, this doesn't make sense to me, okay? Because those twins came into the house before and were like, "Hey, we couldn't find it," because they needed Elspeth because she can see the card, and I'm like, "Why would they split up at this point when the only person who can see the fucking card will be away from the other 2?"
I agree with that. It was weird for them to split up.
Yeah, I'm like,
I think they
"Ugh."
were trying to be as efficient with their time,
I understand that.
but she's gonna have to go check anyway because who's to say you didn't miss it? All she has
I
to look
know,
for is a glow.
I know, but I was like I'm
Yeah.
like, "I don't get this part at all," and I'm like, do they all really need to be roaming at this point? Wouldn't it just been better just to have left 2 people to do it with her then? Like, her and one other person?
Yeah.
Like, it's or, like, switch out the other person because 'cause I'm like, "This makes no fucking sense at all." And I was like, "Okay, we'll split up." But he's like, "Spindle is with me." And her and Raven are both looking at each other like, "What the fuck? No, because that's not what they want, right? They wanna
Well,
hang
yeah.
out together." And he's like, "You can survive without each other for a little while, right?" It's like, this isn't about the card if you guys just wanna fucking hang out. And I gotta ask, what do you think he thinks is going on then? If he thinks that if Elm believes that Elspeth and Raven need to be split up because then won't be looking for the card. Like, this indicated to me that he thinks something more is going on at this point, that maybe they get distracted.
I don't think that it had anything to do with Raven and Elspeth. I think it has everything to do with Elspeth.
Okay.
He doesn't trust her at this point. He thinks
Yeah,
that she's
well,
gonna betray them, and he thinks that he can see through her facade or whatever mask that she's putting on, and that
yeah.
maybe he can keep her not, like, on track as far as, like, not getting distracted, but, like, in line, or maybe be able to,
Maybe keep
like,
it more
lead and
efficient.
Maybe, or just make sure that she's being truthful.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Because I was like, I felt like he didn't trust the two of them together. And he was like, oh, fuck no, you two are.
Oh, I didn't gather that. I just get we've heard several times that he doesn't trust Elspeth in general. But we
Yeah.
learn later too that he trusts Ravyn with his life. So I don't think it has anything to do with Ravyn at the end.
Okay. Okay. Because I'm like, does he think that they would find the card and then not tell anybody? That's kind of where my mind went.
No. Maybe Elspeth would
Ooh.
find it and not tell anybody. But I don't
Yeah,
think
maybe you're right there. But I don't think Ravyn would cover for that.
no, but also Ravyn maybe would be distracted by her or just have so much trust in her that he wouldn't be watching her every step. Where I feel
Yeah.
like Elm is like, I'm keen. I'm gonna pay attention to everything and you can't pull a fast one on me.
Yeah, you might be right there. Okay. But Elspeth, at this point, has decided to take control and direct everyone, like, where they're going and whatnot. So Jasper is going to be going to the 6th floor. And she's like, you don't need to go to the 6th floor. And they're like, why? They're like, because that's where my room is. Like, my father doesn't go up there. So there's no need for that card to be up there. And I kind of thought, you know what? It's funny because if you think about it logically, if you are hiding a card, wouldn't you put it somewhere where you think no one would look for it?
Yeah.
And I was like, it feels like she doesn't even know her dad at this point. Isn't that fucking interesting?
Yeah, I mean, she does and she doesn't. He sent her away whenever she was a little girl and she sees him, what, once a year?
Yeah, it felt like she was seeing her, like, going to the family home more when she was younger, though. Like, it kind
Yeah.
of felt that way as we were reading that she was making these decisions not to go. And I don't know if it's because her
It was
stepmom was like,
Miriam. It was her evil stepmom.
oh, she's a horrible piece of shit. So and Elspeth are in the library where the card is not, but Elm decides he wants to snoop anyway. And I was like, you know what? I kind of love Elm. I do.
I
I
do
kind
too.
of love the way he does things because he's like, oh, it's not him. I'm going to look anyway. And they search the whole of the 3rd floor and there is nothing there. And he's like, are you sure you didn't miss it? And I'm like, dude, you know that she can see these things, right? Like there's
You didn't
colors.
see glowing and maybe just not notice?
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, what's your time, bro? Like that to me says that he thinks that there's a chance that she did see it and she pretended she
Like
didn't.
I
And that
said, he
really,
does not trust her.
I know. And that really, and I was like, I love you, but don't say that ever fucking again. And Elm thinks maybe her dad has used the card and knows that she is about to steal it. And I'm like, oh my God, is that what the card does?
Yeah, it shows you your
Yeah.
enemy.
And I'm like, why on earth would you be in there trying to steal it if you know that this is potentially something he's already seen? And I'm like,
Well, I
how?
don't know exactly how it works. I know it's supposed to show you your enemies, and if you use it too long, I think someone that you trust will betray you. But how does
Right.
that so what, you tap it on, and what does it give you, like, a psychic vision
Well,
that
I don't
someone's gonna
know.
betray you? Or do you have to, like, have that in your mind, like a tarot card, as you're, like, trying to see that path? I
Oh,
don't get it.
maybe. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm like, Jesus fuck. I'm like, they're taking some serious risks because she's assuming that her dad doesn't know what she's up to and
Mhm.
that won't stop her. And then Valiant asks her if she needs something and scares the absolute crap out of her because he's just like appeared out of no fucking where. And he says he's up there to get a book that her father had asked him to grab so that he could show the king. And I'm like, maybe he
Mhm.
does fucking know. My fucking God. And then he asks Elm if they plan to go back downstairs. And Elsbeth's like, it's okay, you can go. But he's not fooled. Like, he's like, should you guys be up here? You're not joining us back downstairs. And it was funny because I could feel the fact that at this point, like, what they doing? Does somebody know? Is it trying to be stopped, but in a subtle way? And I'm like, oh my fucking God. And then Elm makes him bow to her with
I
his skirt
fucking
card.
love that.
And I laughed so fucking hard because I'm like, he doesn't trust you, but he still did that for
You
you.
bow for her?
I know.
Go
And I
ahead.
chuckled. I laughed hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just need to be put in their place. And that's
Yeah.
just how that is. And she gives him shit for using the card because she reminds him that it causes extreme pain when he uses the card. And he's like, That's like everything. Everything has a cost. And she says it's a risk. And he says, so is treason. Because what they're doing is a risk. And that's more dangerous. And I'm like, fuck, things are getting real. Things are
Mhm.
getting real right now. And she wants to know why he goes against his family. And he says simply that it's for Emery's life. And you know what? That took him from being like, I don't know about you to I get you. Like I
Yeah.
went, no, yes. And like this whole chapter just swung him for me, like massively.
Well,
And
I'm glad
Elspeth
you're on his.
tells Wait. And Elspeth tells him that her father looks at her and sees a broken rule because he broke the rule after
Mhm.
he saved her. And he wants to know what lengths she would go to protect someone who protected her no matter what. And then she gets it. She understands why Elm is doing what he's doing against his family's wishes. And I was like, you know what? This conversation needs to happen. And I'm kind of glad that they're together to do this. She knows Elm thinks that because she has secrets that she will betray them. And she said she won't. And the nightmare laughs. So she adds, I won't knowingly betray you. And
Okay.
I'm like, Jesus fuck. She's acknowledging that she has no control at this point, and that's fucking terrifying.
It's the most honest thing
Terrifying.
she said so far.
Right? Yeah. And like, now it's an hour later and no one has found the card. They have time because the festivities are going to continue for, I guess, a long time after that. And she plans to walk around to see if she can see the blue on the card. She says, no one will notice my absence, but in walks Ione. And she hints that she would notice. That's kind of douchey of her to assume that she wouldn't. Ione just changes the whole fucking tone of that chapter, and it's really weird. And I'm like, ugh. So Ione has changed, and she wants Elspeth attention. They all sit, and Elm suddenly grabs Ione's face and notes that someone has used a Skype card on her and asks her what he has made her do. And I'm like, who has made her do what? Then he walks in, huh? And I'm like, that little fucking puke is back. Great,
Mhm.
great. Elm knows what he did. He's used the chalice card and he wants the truth out of all of them. And I was like, fuck,
Yup. Yeah. Shit gets real here.
fucking real. My God. Oh my, and I was like, oh my God, my God, oh my God. And I sat there and I was like, what the fuck is coming?
So my only thing I had written on that chapter is so whenever Elspeth said she wouldn't betray them, Nightmare laughs and she's like, at least not willingly. That is very honest of her. But what was strange is that Elm is so untrusting of her already.
Yes.
Wouldn't he have pushed her on? What do you mean? At least not knowingly. What does that mean?
I think that was her way of illustrating to him that she understands that the truth is not something she can always give, but she doesn't want to hurt anybody with her lies. But
Yeah.
if I was Elm, I'd be fucking keeping two eyes and whatever else at her.
I just feel like if I already had some inkling that something was going on, maybe she has more magic or maybe she's, a double
Yeah.
agent of sorts or whatever, I'd be like, "What do you mean not knowingly?
Yeah,
Are you not
I
in
would have
control?"
questions too. But I think what she's doing is she's trying to be honest that she wouldn't want to hurt them, but there might be a time where she does and she doesn't realize that it's hurting anybody.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah,
that's great.
maybe he took it in that way.
Yeah, that she was trying to be like, I wouldn't do this on purpose. If something
He's
happens, it wouldn't be my fault.
he's so smart and he's
Yeah.
able to read her and her moods and everything. I just feel like that's something that wouldn't have just slipped under his
Yeah.
radar.
Yeah. I agree with you.
I did find the original passage from the nightmare. If you want me to read you that, it is
Yeah.
what I thought it was. Okay, so it's from chapter 1, and whenever
Okay.
Ione walked up in his he says, "Yellow girl, pain unseen. Yellow girl overlooked. Yellow girl won't be queen." And so
Oh,
in this one, it said hold on, where is it? It said, "Yellow girl beauty queen, yellow girl noticed, seen," which is exact opposite. "Yellow girl heart of stone, yellow girl cruel queen." So it's literally the exact opposite, but still, given those riddles on her.
that's
Crazy.
crazy. I love it.
All right, chapter 31. This was honestly probably my favorite chapter in this whole book. It was so good. And it was so entertaining, but also terrifying at the same time. I was just
Oh,
the
yeah.
suspense was fantastic. So they've all drank the chalice truth potion, and Hoth announces the rules. They get one question each, so they need to make it count. And
Right.
so each person takes a turn and they all go around and they ask their question. So Hoth goes first, and we learn that he is jealous of Ravyn and he's trying to turn the Destriers against him, and that he's planning on trying to challenge Ravyn for command, and that he has used the scythe on Ione more than once. And
Yes.
also that he has slept with other women since being engaged to Ione,
I
which doesn't
know.
surprise me, but it did kind of surprise me that that was her question.
No, but I think what she wanted was for him to admit that he's a piece of shit in front of all these people that he is
Yeah.
engaged. I don't think it's that she cared. I think it was like, hey, did you know he's a piece of shit?
Not only is he controlling me with his card, but he's sleeping around.
Can't keep his pecker in his pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then on Ione's turn, we learn that she's not in love with Hoth and that she is with him because she wants power. And
Hey,
if it takes a cold heart to be fearless, she would gladly pay it.
would
Which
you?
would
Would you pay it?
no, but it still sucks to hear. Like, why you want to be so powerful if you were just this lighthearted, fun girl with, a close knit family?
But would you pay it?
Hell
Knowing
no. I don't care about power. I want to be free.
no, but she knows that the mist is coming in. Maybe she thinks being with
You
a
think that
card. Yeah, I
that
think
she
that
would be in a position to help?
well, not necessarily help, but save her own skin. She kind of seems a little, maybe it's just a maiden card, but she comes across very selfish, self-involved, and I think the maiden card suits her, and that's horrible.
See, but I feel like before she got the card, they set it up for her to be like she was so loved by everybody. She was so personal or personable. And like I gathered from chapter 1 and 2 or whatever that she wasn't selfish, that she was actually really kind.
Yeah, and I kind of got the same thing as well, but why would she allow herself to be a pawn in a
Right.
game to get a card? So I think that we just didn't know her.
That was just
Yeah,
a front.
yeah. Let's be honest. Do you really, if you were a really selfish, vapid person, would you want people to know that? Or would you play a game until you could be somewhere where it really didn't matter at that point?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I kind of got the feeling that she allowed herself to be a pawn in this game. She wanted to be with him because she wanted the power.
Or maybe she's a daddy's girl and a people pleaser
Mm.
for that regard, and he's the one
Oh,
pushing it.
maybe. Yeah,
Because we
maybe you're right.
know Uncle Turn wants her to be powerful.
Maybe she thinks she's gonna save Elspeth. I don't know, but I kinda got the
Mm.
feeling that she wanted this.
I actually don't remember, so we shall see in the next
God,
book.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like I said, I remember bits and pieces of the next book, and what I remember of it, I love, but I've forgotten all the small details.
I kind of love that.
Good, me
Okay.
too. Okay, so Elm's turn now. So on Elm's turn, before he starts, Ravyn taps the nightmare card and uses it to speak to him. What did he say? We never learned, did we? Why does he need to speak to him before he answers his questions?
No.
Maybe he was doing the same thing like, "Oh, you don't have to answer 100%. Just think about how you answer, go around," because
Yeah,
they're
I
trying
think
to
that
keep
it
secrets.
yeah, because what he was telling Elspeth was, "Hey,
Yeah.
just answer it realistically enough that you can answer it, but you don't have to answer the question." And I thought it was very clever. I kinda get the feeling that, yes,
But
they had
wouldn't
found a
wouldn't
way.
Elm already know that, though? He's been in this game multiple
Yeah,
times.
but maybe when he's in his head, it keeps him clearer because there's
Yeah,
someone else and they're helping to kind of like that's when they say a problem shared is a problem halved?
yeah.
Like maybe that helps? I don't know.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I was like, "Okay, well, it mentioned that he tapped it and went in his head, but it never expanded on that
I think he was just telling him the same thing as telling Elspeth. Hey,
for moral
like
support to help him
moral
get through it."
support. Like I think that helps, right?
Yeah. Okay, so we learn through his questions and answers that he believes he is the most talented card user in Blender, and he does not live at Stone because he hates it so much there that he would burn the whole place down if he could.
I believe that. I do. I
Okay.
believe that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, think about it. Hoth and the fucking king tortured him. Like, so Elm also trusts Raven with his life.
Yeah.
And we learn that using the scythe for too long feels like glass cutting through his head. Ow.
Jesus fuck, man.
Ah. And then
But that
Elm, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but this answers the question, like, would you use these cards? Would you as a person?
I mean, not for too long, but Yeah, I'd use them.
Oh, you naughty girl. I wouldn't. I
I would
wouldn't.
love the mirror card. It'd be so much fun to be invisible. It'd be so much fun. I think that was the one I would like the most. Yeah. Also learned that Elm feels he's more fit to be king than Hauth, which duh.
Yes.
Okay, and now it's Raven's turn, and the chalice doesn't work on him, and Hauth is bitter because he's like, well, you're just gonna answer
You
however
guys
you
know what you
want to answer, like always. Like this game's not fun to play with you.
Yeah.
But we learn that he has cared. And Iona's question is, do you really care for Elspeth? Because she, at the end of the day, does. So,
Yeah.
however selfish maybe Iona is, she definitely has love still for Elspeth.
Right.
But we learn that Ravyn has cared for her deeply since the second moment that he's met her. And Hauth's question is, he wants to know where Ravyn goes whenever he's not with the Destriers. And he says he's off doing the king's bidding. We learn that he's thankful for Jesper being a Destrier with him.
Right.
And then Elm's question is super deep. He asks if he thinks Elm's better looking than him. To which Ravyn says, decidedly. And Elspeth asks if he's still pretending. And he laughs and kisses her in front of everybody and says he never was.
Yes.
Super sweet. And then on Elspeth's turn, it's Elspeth's turn. And this is the whole reason that Hauth has set this little game up. Because
Right.
he needs to know. And Ione asks her if she's in love. And she kind of starts freaking out because, yes, she's in love, but she's not said it yet. And she's not ready to say it. And she's mad that she's being forced to say it as it's trying to pull it out of her. And so
Yeah.
she's freaking out so much that she even asks the nightmare for help. And the
I
nightmare's
know.
like, yeah.
Right?
And the nightmare's like, well, the chalice affects the blood. I am of no help here. And so she finally regretfully says, yes, she is in love with him. And then on Hauth's turn, he asked her what happened to her arm. And Ione chimes in and says, I told you she fell.
Yeah.
So this is the second time that Ione has jumped in to save her ass, which of all the negative things coming from her, I think this is to keep her in a space where we don't dislike her so much.
Yeah. But obviously she knows that she did do it.
Oh,
Otherwise,
absolutely. But she
why
hates
would she
Hauth
lie?
and she is female. So
Yeah.
Ravyn, after Hauth asked this question, is, mouthing for her to let him help her. And
Yeah.
so he taps the nightmare card, and Elspeth is panicking, and she's thinking, no, don't, no, don't. And whenever he shows up in her head and tries to calm her down and tells her, to skirt around the question, she is freaking out, and she's shouting at him, no, 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 told you, get out. And then the nightmare chimes in, you heard her, get out, Ravyn, you. And that scares the shit out of him, so much so that he falls out of his chair.
Yes.
And that little distraction, Hauth lunges for Elspeth, grabs her broken arm. And in all of this commotion, Ione is able to tap the scythe and free everybody. And then whenever Elspeth gets up, she falls and throws up blood because she tried to lie too much. And the repercussion of that is that the chalice is poison. So she has been
Correct.
poisoned. Yeah. That was an intense chapter.
It was.
Fun
You know
game,
what?
huh?
My fucking God. I would have been like, no, I'm leaving. But one of the things I had was how violated would you fucking feel knowing that that little puke had used this card against you without your permission? But then Ravyn did the same thing right after. And I know that Ravyn was trying to be pure, but at the same time, I'm like,
He promised he
Gee,
wouldn't.
I was like, I was mad. And I understand where Ravyn was coming from. I understood
His
that Ravyn
intentions
was
were
trying to
great.
help.
Like, you don't have to answer fully, right? Just
Yeah.
skirt around the question. He didn't
Yeah.
ask how it happened. He asked what happened. I
What
broke it. The end.
And I understand why he did it. I really did. And I understood that from his perspective. But at the same time, I would have been just as upset with him as I would have been with Hauth for coming in when I hadn't given you the yes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And honestly, the whole part of this chapter, my most exciting part was when Nightmare demanded that he fuck off.
Really?
Yeah. Honestly, he was like, hey, you heard it, get the fuck out of here. And I'm like, oh my fuck, because that's all I wrote for this chapter was like, Jesus fuck, man. I'm like, but I also wrote, now, do you think that if Elspeth hadn't been so vehemently opposed to him being in her head, that Nightmare would have said anything, or do you think he would have stayed silent? Do you think he was in there?
I think that he would have stayed silent.
Yeah.
Well, also, her degeneration is escalating, right?
Right.
So he feels more free and is more free to speak his mind. But at the end of the day, they've been on the same team
Yeah.
for what, 11 years or something like that? Like
Yeah.
that's his partner in a sense.
But she
So he's
was
gonna defend her.
panicking because she thought that Ravyn would hear the nightmare, and she was scared of that, and she was upset. And I think that was the only reason that Nightmare stepped in was because she was so agitated.
Yeah,
And I
I
think if
agree.
she'd kept her cool, that he would have stayed silent and the shit wouldn't have fucking happened.
Yeah, I agree. 'Cause
But
he was defending her. He was like, "Hey, you heard her.
get
Get
the
out.
fuck out of here.
Don't make me
Out.
say it."
It was fucking something, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That was something.
I seriously think that was, like, I don't know if favorite is the right word, but I think it was my favorite chapter in the book.
You
Just
know
the
what? I think it might
suspense
have
of
been.
it.
I think it was kind of fun as well.
And it was really insightful too. Like, we learned a lot. Things we
Yeah.
knew, but nobody had ever actually been honest with themselves and everybody else enough to voice out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think that it really answers some questions for me as well. Like what should I say? Hawk. I kind of feel like he brought together things that I was wondering myself, and now I feel like I understand. Like when chapter 32 starts, I understand what's happening in everyone's heads now, and I wondered just how dangerous Ione was going to be to Elspeth, and now I understand that she's not a danger to Elspeth, but I think that if it was anyone else, she is highly dangerous. She is not to be trusted.
We shall see.
I know! I know. The fact that you read book 2 already makes me wanna bite you a little bit.
You'll
Are
be
you
there
ready?
soon enough.
I know. Are you ready for 32?
Yeah, let's go.
Awesome. So Elspeth, after picking up all that blood in chapter 31, wakes up in her own bed at her father's house, and even after everything that's happened, Ravyn is asleep in the chair in her room. And I was like, so cute because I'm like, at that point, you would wonder as a person, right? Where does he say he heard that? There's no talking your way out of that. He understood kind of what happened, but he's still there for her. And then someone knocks at the door and it wakes Ravyn up, and it's Elm. And Elspeth pretends she's still asleep because she wants to see what's going on without her involved in it. And Elm asks how she is doing. And Raven's like, well, she's still asleep. They are seriously angry because this whole thing with Hop and the game that he played, like, come on. That
That's some
was some
bullshit.
serious boundary fucking issues right there.
Yeah.
Really? Really? No. They both know that obviously Hoth knows that they were all in the woods that night. That he was just trying to gain the proof that he needed to oust them all. Now, at this point, they have to be really fucking cautious. Now, do you think that Hoth at this point knows that they are off the cards and that they're going against the crown? Or do you just think that he thinks that Ravyn just wants the throne to oust him? This was a big question that I had in this
I think it's
section.
the second.
You think he wants the throne?
I don't think he wants the throne. I think that Hoth believes that. I don't think that
Yeah,
Hoth knows that they're after the cards. But also, the night that they were attacked in the woods, a card was stolen.
that's what I
So
mean.
maybe he does, but he's not
Because
said anything about that.
no, and that's kind of where I was at because it feels like Hoth thinks that they're after the throne. Maybe he thinks that if they collect the cards and they'll say, hey, we'll give you all these cards if you give us the throne.
He'll use it as a trading chip.
Yeah, because it doesn't feel to me like Hoth understands that they are literally committing treason at this point.
Yeah,
Because
and
otherwise, I don't know, I think this would have gone very differently. And I wondered what you thought about that.
yeah, I didn't actually think about that. I don't know because everybody knows, right? Who's read the the old book of Alders that
Yeah,
you collect the cards, you free blunder of the mist.
right.
And I feel like everybody wants that. So I don't know. I don't think that he would think that he's collecting the cards for his own personal gain to defy and go against the king. I think that if he's collected them, he would think that he's doing it for the king. But then at the end of the day, what card did they steal from? What's his face? The prophet, I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
that night on the road.
But
And the
the
king
king already
already had
has
one.
that one, right?
Yeah.
So why would you steal it? He obviously
Yeah.
knows that it was them. what purpose would you have? I don't know. I kind of, at this point, this is kind of where my brain went. I'm like, does Hoth, is he smart enough to understand what's going on? Or is that he that fucking stupid
I don't think
that
he's
he's,
smart enough.
well, yeah, that's kind of
Elm
where I
got
was
the
at.
brains in that
No,
dynamic.
no.
But also, does he 100% know that it was them in the woods? Because I know that revelation happens and that he calls her out on it in, like, the next chapter.
Okay.
No. Yeah, he knows she was there, but does he
That's
know
what I
Ravyn
mean.
was there?
Yes. And I think that he understands that Ravyn and her are together. And I'm like, I wonder why he thinks these things are going on. And I'm like, does he think that Ravyn just wants to usurp him for like the future leader of taking the crown? Or
He
whether he understands what's going on that I don't know. I was
he
like,
he might
what is his
also think that Elspeth is the one doing this for her own personal game and that Ravyn is just, like, not distracted, but, like, blinded by how much he cares for her that he's not noticing what she's doing. Maybe.
Mm, maybe.
Like, maybe he
Maybe.
thinks he's the mastermind behind it.
Ooh, you know what? That's a really interesting viewpoint because I'm like, this isn't the first time a card's been stolen.
Mhm.
And that would have been before she came into his life. And I wondered where his mind was at because he seems really vapid. He seems very simplistic in his ideology. And I'm
He
like,
only
does
thinks
he
about
think?
himself.
Yeah. And I'm like, is he thinking that his like claim to the throne's going to be gone? Maybe that they're going to say, hey, I have all these fucking cards. You can have them, but I want the throne.
That's what he's probably only thinking about how it's going to affect him.
Back
Like,
him.
he's a
Yeah.
narcissist, so
Okay. Okay, good. Because that's kind of where I got to in the end, but I wondered if maybe I was misunderstanding,
yeah.
like, the question
No,
here.
I feel like that's probably where I didn't think about it, but that's I agree.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's kind of where my brain was going. So Elm asked him if he slept, and clearly he hasn't. And he admits he used the nightmare card on Elspeth. And this, I was like, I was so excited when he admits this because I'm like, we're gonna get some like understanding here. And then I was like, yeah, to help her in the game. Duh. Like fucking help. It's hilarious. And Raven admits he promised he would never use it on her. And I was like, well, last night was, one of those times where sometimes you have to do what's
Yeah.
best, regardless of someone's fucking feelings. And Raven's like, well, I doubt that she's gonna see it that way. And I'm like, you're sure as shit shaking his head that fucking way.
Yeah.
And he said being in her head was weird because it felt like being trapped underwater. And this really fucking excited me. He said her voice felt really far away and he felt like he was losing his mind. And I'm like, wow. So he doesn't exactly know what that was because he can't understand. He felt like it was from a distance. And I was like, wow. Wow, wow, fucking wow. And then Nightmare is giving her shit for not being honest, and she pretends now that she is waking up. And he wants to know about the voice in her head. He wants to help, and she says that he can't. And you know what? At this point, I felt really bad for Raven because I'm like, you know what? She can't know that. She's making a massive assumption that he can't help, and she's not being honest. And I was like, you know what? I feel really bad for him. But she says she's going to show him with his card. And I'm like, oh, good. She's finally fucking seeing the light. She says she wants Nightmare to be nice. And now Raven knows that there is something in her head other than her. And so does Elm because he's talking out loud when he's talking about what's going on.
Mhm.
So she obviously now at this point has decided that they all need to know. Otherwise, she would have told Raven, get rid of Elm and I'll tell you in private. She didn't
Yeah.
do that. So she's obviously being fully transparent at this point. And I love this. My heart was
It's
fucking
time.
racing at this point. It was epic. And he wants to know how. And he sees the memory of her touching the card because she's showing him the image on his nightmare card. She's trying to explain it in that way. So now I'm understanding why she didn't want to touch the fucking cards because she absorbs whatever the trade was for the card. And I was
The
like,
cost,
this
yeah.
is what I wrote, okay? In very large letters. Oh my fucking God, Hannah, and you knew this. And I'm like, and it was big. Like
Yeah.
it's like the whole page is this big. And I was like, oh my fucking God, Hannah. I was like, you knew. Because you
Yeah.
did, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. But also, like, some of the costs are not as detrimental for her to absorb. Like, how you going to absorb a queen's old bones? Or,
Yeah, but
your sleep. I guess it could cost her sleep. That would be bad.
I know, but the nightmare was bad enough. That would put me off touching those fucking
Yeah,
cards. I'm not gonna
yes
lie.
and no. I would look at some of the other ones and I'd be like, oh, well, that was armor or whatever. Like, okay. But also, it could twist it in a sense and be like, oh, your armor is your charisma or your house or
Right.
whatever. It could be different to each person. So it is a dangerous game.
Yeah. And you're not wrong. It's just I was like, after the nightmare going inside her, I would be scared about how these other things would come out the cards. I'm not
Yeah.
lying. Okay. I'm like, I fucking get it. And she's like, I don't want to touch that. And I'm like, why? Why not? And I'm like, I get it now.
Well,
But it took
okay.
me all the way to this fucking chapter to go, light bulb, you're a
Well,
fucking idiot.
that's how Rachel Gillig writes, is she tells you what it is, but like she doesn't try to trick you. She just gives you a small clue here and then another small clue here. And she's just guiding you and gently nudging you until like you have that moment
I
of light bulb.
Yeah, but do you understand that even like us deep diving, I think I'm spotting things a lot quicker than I would
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
That was my only not downfall or my only issue with this book the first time is I did find it very predictable because of the way that
She's
she writes and
feeding it to
potions.
us, but she's
Yeah.
feeding it to us in a way where it's you obviously caught it early. I have read other I couldn't help myself. I wanted to go see what other people thought. And a lot of people didn't catch any of it. And I think it's
Yeah.
who you are as a person to how much you're catching at what point.
Yeah, I caught
I
all
do.
of it. I even the first time I read it through, I knew he was the Shepherd King after like the second chapter or
Yeah.
something ridiculously early, which
Yeah.
doesn't make the book less appealing or less well written because it's very well written. But it
Of
it did
course.
take away some of that like shock and awe factor that I like so much in my books.
Yes. Yeah, and I understand that, I really do, but I thought it was very interesting because looking at how other people were things were coming to them, it was coming at different points, and I'm realizing that it doesn't matter who you are as a reader. You're either gonna catch it really early on, or you're gonna
Or you're
catch
gonna
it
wait
somewhere in
for
the
it to tell
middle,
you.
or it's gonna hit you like a fucking sledgehammer. And everybody's different, and that was one of the things that I realized that Rachel Gillig might be the most superior writer of my lifetime because she has written a book where everybody is gonna hit differently.
Yeah.
Everybody. She has written this book so that everybody is getting smacked in the fucking face at different points. They're like, "Oh my god, my light bulb moment was here. My light bulb moment was."
Yeah.
Fuck. And I'm
That is
usually
fun.
pretty good at picking stuff up, but even I think I miss stuff.
That's okay. It makes it more exciting, I feel like.
But it really does. But this chapter also explains that now she admits that she's not the one seeing the card, the nightmare is. And I didn't know that until this fucking point.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
That his magic,
Yeah,
hers.
it's his fucking magic, not hers. And I'm like, motherfucker, because I didn't spot that. And I'm like, wow, I bet Hannah did because
Her
Hannah knows
magic is to
everything.
absorb what's in the card, where his is to see the card,
See,
which I'm sure that's along with multiple other things. He was the king and he had lots of different magic,
right, right. But yeah, I'm like, fuck, I miss things. And I'm
And I
like,
bet, and I bet he could see the cards because the cards are him, like they are
yeah,
of
because they're
him.
things he's had to
Yeah,
give up. And that makes sense. But during it, I thought that was what power she had got.
yeah,
I did not know until this motherfucking moment that it was him. And I'm like, fuck. And I missed that. And I bet there were parts in the book where we know that that's the truth,
yeah,
but I didn't spot that. And now Elm has pieced everything together. He's fucking mad. And Ravyn makes him leave and wants to know why she didn't tell him. And I'm like, fuck, bro, buddy, I don't know why she didn't either. But obviously at this point, she's gonna have to answer that. And this is where Nightmare says that Rowan stole his life. He who has been trapped in the card, fury and salt, and there's that fucking salt word again, which now you have explained is he refuses to answer what will happen to Elspeth when he gets too strong. And again, I'm like, he was so benign for me, and now I'm like, ugh, no, no, fucking no. So the first Rowan king burnt the castle and killed the Shepherd's King family. Dude, I was so fucking heartbroken. I literally just so you know, I'm not much of a drinker, but I shut the book. I went and had a glass of wine, and then I came back to it. No, I had to. I had to. Not a very big glass of wine. I was just like, oh my God, could you
Building your
fucking
stress
imagine?
levels up.
It was horrible. It was horrible. And that was the second time a book has ever made me go and need to just calm
Really?
for a minute with alcohol. So his body is beneath the chamber at Castle Yule. Jasper informs them that the king wants them downstairs. Now, Ravyn doesn't want to go, but he knows he has to, and he leaves Elspeth alone. And Nightmare tells her to rest because the poison has made her weak. And her father knocks on the door and he comes in with the wild card. And I'm like, Mickey good. And he wants Elspeth at Hauth, and he says that he is like his father. So I'm guessing that they're both fucking monsters because we already know what kind of person Hauth is. He's a cunt.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that that means that the king is a real cunt, right?
Yeah, but they've said even from the beginning that the Rowans are brutal in their ruling. And we've gotten more in-depth details with Hauth because he's been
Right.
a character we've been, yeah,
But
but no, the king
Elm
is
is
just as
not
bad.
like that. Right.
No,
But so for
Elm's
me,
crazy.
I didn't know much about the king at this point, and it made it very clear that he's a piece of shit too.
Well,
So
it
I was
did
just
also say that the king thought that Elm was weak because Elm was more of like the scholarly type. And so because he thought he was weak, they brutalized him, the king and Hauth both, which is why he left in the first place.
what a piece of shit.
Right?
Piece of shit. But because now that we know that the father is basically warning her that the family are monsters, he does something really unexpected. He gives her the wild card. And this is what I was trying to say in that chapter. I felt like if she had asked, he would have just done it.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, at this point now, I think that it sits better for me too, that he's the one that came to her and gave her the card. He's like, your mother gave me this card. He was like, I don't know if you want to give it to Ravyn. I see what's going on between the two of you. But he wants her to know that he wishes he had done things differently with her. And I was like, I did. I teared up really bad. And it was
Yeah.
so bad because had been wearing makeup because we'd been out. And I had mascara lines down my face. And my daughter trying to come up to me, she was like, Mom, you look like shit.
You look
She's
crazy.
7. Yeah. She was like, you look like shit. I'm like, what did you just say to me? Just like the lines. I'm like, you just said the S word. She was like, well, Dad said the same thing about you when he walked past. But I hadn't heard him because I was reading. I was like,
what? You know what? You're owed a new book now. What'd you say about me? Okay.
I was like, thanks. So my daughter thinks I look like crap because my husband had said it and I hadn't caught him. So she ratted him out too, which was really fucking funny. Do you know what he said that he would get me? That dungeon call book that you were talking about.
I'm slowly listening to it. I only allow myself to listen to like a chapter here and there because it is so funny. I don't want to just like fly through it.
He's self-published.
Really?
Yeah. So he's an indie author that got picked up by Penguin a year
Oh.
ago.
Yeah, I've got about
It's
4
6
hours
books.
left in the first book. So I
Yeah.
do like one chapter a day.
Yeah, because it's on Kindle Unlimited. And I'm like, well, you know what? I want
Is
to take
it
it back now.
really? Good to know. I'll read along with it now too.
Yeah, that's why it's on Kindle Unlimited because
I did
there's
not know
6
that.
books, right? There's 6 books.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I think the 7th one is coming out soon.
Yeah, and I think that's what, because the whole of Instagram has gone fucking insane.
It's a
And
lot
I'm
of
like,
fun.
I
It's weird as shit, but it's so
I
much fun.
know, but my cousin, she doesn't do a great deal of reading, and she was like, "Hey, have you heard of this book?" I'm like, "I mentioned this book." I'm like, and I'm seeing it everywhere.
I've laughed out loud. I'm not even done with the first book, and I've laughed out loud several times.
Yeah, and I have a friend, and he reads a lot of sci-fi, and I'm like, "Hey, have you read this?" He was like, "No, but I'm gonna look at it now." And he went, he's like, "It's on Kindle Unlimited." It's like, oh my fucking God.
I'm
There's
glad to know
6 of
that
these.
now. I'm gonna have to go download it and read along because I definitely like doing the read and listen
Yeah.
together.
It's on Kindle Unlimited. Let me know if it's not in the US because it's definitely here, and that's unusual for us. But it's funny because I really had this like epiphany that I thought that he would give her the card if she just asked. And I guess I was right. Now she leaves her room and Ravyn spots her. She tells him that she has the world card. And he is like, did you steal it? And she's like, my dad gave it to
Just
me.
Gave it to me.
I know. And
We
she
could have
tells
just asked him
him
the whole damn time.
yeah. And she tells him that. And she says she's sorry she didn't tell him, and this is why she needs to heal herself. And she admits that she didn't know how to tell him. How the fuck would you tell anybody? She didn't tell her dad. She didn't tell her best friend, her cousin. Why would she tell someone she just met like yesterday that she's got this fucking voice in her head? Like, I understand why it would be really hard to open up like that. I'm hoping that he understands that too. He has to leave, but he said he'll be back later that day, and she tells him to be safe. And that this fucking set me on edge so fucking hard. It says, had she known these were the last words she would have said aloud to him, she would have said something else. And I'm like, what the fuck's gonna happen next?
A little bit of foreshadowing there, huh? Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot. The end of this book is
Oh
a
my
lot.
God. This last part of this book was just the most
Yeah,
of anything. The most.
yeah. So I had I guess a couple questions or
Yeah.
expansions on some of your bullet points. So I did want to also expand on whenever you said Elm pieced it all together, aka knowing that the nightmare was in his head. I really love how smart he is because not
Yeah.
only was he able to piece it together and be like, oh, that's there, but he was able to be like, that makes sense. That's why you can fight. That's why your eyes turn yellow when you can fight. And he was able to literally piece
Yes.
all of it together because the night that she saved his ass from her dad and through the rock and everything, he noticed her eyes were yellow.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I love how smart he is. Like, he's just so observant.
He is. He really is. But they're all like, even Elm's really smart too. There seems to be
Oh,
a
this is Elm
this
I was
episode.
talking about. Yeah. No, Hauth now. And another thing I was gonna ask is, so obviously whenever Raven used the nightmare card and went into her head and he was talking about how her voice sounded far away and it sounded like she was underwater kind of.
Yeah.
Obviously he's not encountered going into somebody's head who has a shepherd king in there.
Of course not.
But why do you think that it sounded like she was far away? Do you think that that's relating to her degeneration? Or
You
why do
know
you think
what?
it sounded like she was underwater? Do you think we're gonna learn more about that?
I think the reason that he felt that way is because it's not just her in there. I think that because the nightmare is in there, I think it felt like she was further away than a normal person's mind would be when they're talking in their heads. Like for Elm, when he's talking to Elm's just there. Well, now there's two of them in there, and maybe the nightmare was closer. Like, I think that kind of means that he's taken over more than we're realizing at this point.
Because the
Because otherwise, why would she
degeneration,
be
his
so
voice
far
is
away?
yeah, okay. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
And I remember a scene or something in the next book that, like, I think kind of ties back in with that a little bit, but I can't remember it clearly. Like, I can't it's there, but it's fuzzy, you know? So I'm curious to read it.
I know, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's fuzzy. Like, I just have this, like, inkling that that's gonna be touched on again, but I can't remember, you know? Anything else on that chapter? Are you ready for 33?
No, I'm ready for 33.
All right. So, chapter 33, Uncle Tern enters the parlor and he's searching for something. And he sees
Yes.
Elspeth and he tells her that her aunt wants to see her and that she is waiting upstairs in her room. And Elspeth mentions that something's off. Tern looks pale and he won't look at her. And the nightmare even warns her that he's hiding something. And he is, because her aunt's not in her room, but freaking Hauth was. And forced her into the room. And keep in mind that he did this willingly. He was not
Yes.
under the size control or anything like that. What a fucking twat.
Yes.
That's your family, bruh.
Family, bro. She's
Yeah, it made me dislike him even more. But Hoth asks her again what happened to her arm. So he is not letting this go. Taryn leaves and Hoth locks them in. And they kind of get into an altercation where Hoth has to pull out the scythe and tell her to stay still. But she's able to break through the card's control and scream. And then he hits her injured hand, or she hits his injured hand and he drops his card.
right.
To which he then grabs the black horse and taps it. And she's like, oh my God, he's so fast. So he's able to get her injured hand behind her back. And he then admits that he knows that it was her in the wood. And he
Yes.
says, scream again and I'll break your neck.
Yes.
Yeah, what a dick, right? And then he ties her to a chair and he says, you're infected, aren't you? I know because your uncle confirmed it. He gave it up to keep his land and his title and his life. What a fucking coward. Like, I'm sorry. That was the most cowardly thing you could have done.
I wondered if it was because he was trying to make sure that Ione stays where she is. And that's just as fucking disgusting.
I
So
mean,
disgusting.
Well, how would Iona not stay where she was, though? Because
Well,
she
if
would
he turns
also have been hiding it through the years, and so she would have had to die too.
yeah, I'm wondering if because that's what happens, right? When you are
Whoever
hiding and
Yeah.
infected, you are automatically sentenced to death, and I'm wondering if her uncle took the whole brunt of that to make sure that Ion doesn't die.
He didn't take the brunt of it, Elspeth did.
Well, yeah, I know, but what I mean is, I wonder if he threw her under the bus to protect his
Yeah.
own daughter, and I'm like, "You know what? I hate him. He's a
But
piece of shit."
if he didn't throw her under the bus and he said, "No, she's not infected," then nobody would be under the bus in the first place, and she could have
Yeah,
said
but
she
did he use the
recently got
chalice
infected.
card? We've already seen that he does that. He doesn't seem to have
Yeah.
boundaries.
Yeah, but he did all of this with Turn, and Turn did it all gave it all up willingly without him even using his magic.
How do we know that? Does it say that?
It said that he was not under the control of the scythe.
Oh, did it? Okay. Because I'm like, the scythe, but the chalice card's what he used to get the truth out of everybody in that group. So technically,
Yeah.
yeah, I can see what you're saying there. But if he used chalice, he didn't technically lie.
Yeah, I guess. I don't
I
know.
don't
I
know.
don't like that
You know what? I
twat-waffle.
guess I'm trying to save a motherfucker when I probably shouldn't be trying to
No,
save.
he can
I'm gonna
die.
run it.
He can die. So Hoth, after letting her know he knows she's infected, says that he
Okay.
wants her to help him. And he says that Ravyn will have to help him keep her infection secret. And he wants Ravyn to step down as captain of Desters because for some reason I think he wants that role. And I'm not sure why. Maybe he just wants all those black horses and all the power to be under his command.
Think it's because he knows Raven doesn't support him. And I just
Yeah.
think that he wants to surround himself with little fuckers just like him.
Yeah, he wants more power on his side under his
Yeah.
command.
Yeah.
Because technically he couldn't use his scythe to command all of the Destriers.
He could. Oh my god, he's such a little fucking puke.
We saw it in the beginning whenever Elm used his to part the crowd of like 50 plus people
Yeah.
just like that. So that's scary. But to
Terrifying.
which, whenever he's like, "Oh, I need your help," Elspeth spits in his face. And then he punches her in the face. So she is begging the nightmare for help, and he hesitates and he admits that he doesn't know what will happen if he does help because her degeneration is almost at an end.
I know.
And she understands the price. And quietly, she says goodbye. She says goodbye to the spindle tree and to the girl that she was. And the nightmare then tells her that she'll need to free her hands. And so she starts pulling on her bindings, and her skin is tearing off and she's bleeding, but she is able to get her hands free.
Right.
And while all this is happening, Orith Willow walks in with his claw. I don't know. Her like quietly saying goodbye to herself was kind of devastating.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. Because you know what? I don't remember what part this was, but I'm like, she's literally handing over the reins and giving up. And I felt like she was making a huge mistake because
I
I
mean,
think that she's stronger than that.
she's choosing Raven's survival and their
Aw.
task over her own. Like she's choosing Raven's future over her own survival.
I
It's sad though. It
It
was
was
sad.
horribly sad.
That's all I had on that one though.
Yeah, all I pretty much wrote was, Hoth is a effing C word.
And so is Uncle Turn.
Yeah.
And so
I
is
was like,
Gordon.
so he knows the whole time it was her. Like,
Yeah.
he knew. He knew.
He just wanted her to admit it, which is why he kept
Yeah.
asking.
I don't understand that, though. It's almost like it's like, "I know, but you need to say it. Otherwise,
And
I don't feel."
why would he want her to say it in front of other people anyway? Because then other people are gonna know that he was attacked and injured by a woman, and I know that
I
his stomach
know!
can handle
That's
that.
what I mean. I don't get it. It makes no fucking sense. But I also wonder if he wants her to say it so that he has control over her and the other people. I don't know. I know. It doesn't make any sense because if that was me, I would not want anyone to know. This would be happening in private.
Yeah. Which it does here, but he's asked her in front of everybody outside of the
Yes.
castle that time, and then he also asked
That's
her
what I
with the
mean.
chalice round.
Right. It makes no sense. It's almost like he's got no sense. But this is where it just
What if she
proves that he's an idiot.
what if she answered in front of the chalice and she was like, "Ugh, you know what happened? You fucking broke it when I scarred your face, you little bitch."
Yeah, a little bitch. You want to be my little bitch again? Like, I don't know what he thought he he was doing that in front of people that he assumed already know that it was her. He's
Uh-huh.
not very good at this, is he?
He's not the
And that's
smartest.
who he wants to be king?
His brother got the brains for show.
Fucking rights! Idiot. No, that was all I got on that one too. Are you ready for chapter 34?
I am.
So, we know she is infected and she is praying that Ravyn will come back for her soon because he said that he would be. Now, she is devastated because no matter what, Ravyn has committed treason and the nightmare wants to know if she trusts him. And I thought that was really fucking interesting because at this point, he still needs her to give the okay. You know what I mean? He can't just take it. He needs to know
I don't
that.
think it's necessarily that, maybe, but I think that they have, I mean, at least he has respect for her. I think they have kind of a mutual respect 'cause
Yeah,
they've been together for so long.
yeah, maybe that's it because she says, "Do I have a choice?" And he says, "You have always had a
Mhm.
choice." And I'm like, "But did she really? Did you offer that up in that way, or did you make her think she didn't have a choice?" And that was
He's
something that I
he's
noted
made a
right there.
comment like that before too, like, "I've never taken what wasn't willingly given to me.
Yeah,
Every time you ask for help, you are willingly giving me a piece of yourself."
right, right. Now they are plotting how to get Raven to submit, Hoss and that other dude, as he's on his way back, and Nightmare tells her it is time, and I'm like, "Time for what? What are you planning?" Oh my fucking god! I was like, "Dudes, okay, like this shit's getting real right now." And she screams through her gag, and her hands are free, and she hits his face, off face, and he falls to the ground. And she can feel Nightmare's powers grow. She tries to escape, a Hoth double punches her in the gut, and she doubles over. And I'm like, he's got no problem hitting a girl. That really sucks because he
I
has
know, he
no idea,
punched her in
right?
the face too.
Yeah, they hit her in the yeah. Like, he does not seem to care. He's got no qualms about
Mm.
beating on women. Beth helps, and he realizes that she is the one who helped the kids escape that night. Like, the kid
Uh-huh.
escape. And I'm like, wow, you're so fucking smart. It's taking you this fucking long. Elspeth throws her weight at Hoth, and it pummels the absolute motherfucking shit out of him. And I'm like, about fucking
Split
time.
his eyelid. I loved that little detail.
I did too. It was awesome. And Raven comes into her mind and asks if she is there. Now, Hoth has knocked her out and Raven is still calling her. She tells him to stay away, that they know the truth and that they are waiting for him to come. And I'm like, wow. So her last act in her consciousness is to make sure that Raven does not come to grab her, that he does not walk into this trap. Nightmare wants her to get up, and she does. She wants him to take over her. She sees a vision of a man in the mist running with his children, and they are terrified. I'm not going to lie. At this point, I'm like, oh my God. So that's who she saw in the forest, right? When she was with that kid, when she saw the other kids running. And I'm like, oh
Mhm.
my God, it was his babies, his kids,
And
it
it
was
was
his family.
also in the dream from chapter 1,
Yeah. And I'm like,
or the first part of the first chapter in this part.
yeah. I'm like, oh my God, they were his kids. That was the Shepherd King kids who died. Yeah. And it hurt me to continue reading, but obviously I did because I had to get to the end of the book. So we see the vision of the castle burning, and at this point, my rage is fucking boiling. Then a girl asks for the creature's name. So this was the nightmare, and how he woke to Elspeth as a child from the card, and that was his nightmare. And I'm like, oh my God, she wrote it in such a way that it didn't feel that way
Mhm.
until we knew. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. So we're seeing visions of what happened to him before he ends up inside of her. Awakening to Raven calling for Elspeth, he tells her they are coming. Hoth and Orith notices now that her eyes are just yellow. They have become one now, her and the nightmare. They tell him to stay out of her head, and it's too late now. So he was usurped by the Rowans, and everyone he loved was murdered. And now he is fucking pissed. Like, I guess he's finally coming into his own memories, right? Like, he's
I think
remembering.
he's had them the whole time because he's despised the Rowans every time that he's, seen them or heard their name or whatever. He's going on like, "Fuck them," this and that.
It felt like it was almost like the anger was more acute at this point, though. So I'm wondering if maybe he hadn't fully
Like,
accepted what had happened.
I think because now he's been able to, like, take over her body, his feelings are able to come to the surface, and he's probably
Yeah.
able to feel them fully now.
Yeah, that makes
This
sense.
has 500 years worth of holding on to this hate for, these tragedies that this Rowan line has caused.
I had like an hour and 25 minutes of reading this last part, and I'm fucking angry enough. So I can't imagine how he's feeling.
Yeah, like, he literally burned his fucking kids, like,
That's horrible. It's disgraceful. Now, all she wants is to help Emery. He says he will help the Yules in all their endeavors. And I'm like, that's not the fucking answer she was looking for, but okay. He now has control, and she's at like the corner of his mind. So he's in the front, she's behind. Fuck. But does Nightmare being the soul of the Shepherd King know where the twin oldest card is? Being because now that he's in control
uh-huh.
and he's the Shepherd King, does he know where that twin
Yeah,
oldest card is? As the Shepherd King is the one that walked into the mist? Yeah. So maybe this needed to happen for them to be able to go true for this card because he didn't tell her he knew where it was when he was on the back end.
yeah, no, we didn't know. So, yeah, the
It's
the
something.
one thing that I don't think you said that I wanted to note because I absolutely loved it was whenever, she was beating up Hoth and split his eyelid and he tapped his scythe and told her to stay still. I loved that she/Nightmare let out this animalistic laugh. And she was like, "That can't help you against me. And what are you without it?" I fucking loved that line. I was like, he's nothing without it.
It's
Literally, he's
nothing.
nothing. I like that. And also that they were able to rip off Orit's glove and shove it down his throat and kill him. That was a good way to go.
Yes.
That was a good way to go. And then I
Indeed.
also loved that whenever they were talking about, like, whenever the Rowans had killed his family and all that, he had this little riddle because I love the way he speaks in riddles, but I love the end of it. He said, "When the Shepherd King returns, a new day shall ring. Death to the Rowans, long live the king." Uh,
Yes.
love that. I don't know why I always love in, like, shows or movies or books or whatever when they're like, "Long live the king." I don't know why. I've always loved that line.
I love it.
So reading that made me happy. Yeah. Also, so whenever they were talking about whenever she had that vision,
Right.
and it was like there is a gray-eyed man facing facing Rowan.
Right.
So Emery, in one of the previous chapters, thought that they were related to the Shepherd King
Right.
because of the castle's age, and because Yew Castle was the only one that was ancient enough for the Shepherd King to have lived in, right?
Right.
But it said that the gray-eyed man was facing the Rowan, and Raven has gray eyes, so
Right.
that could also be another indicator of their lineage.
You might be right there.
So, that's the
Love that.
only other little thing I noticed, and I was like, maybe."
Questions or questions or questions.
You ready for the last chapter?
I am, yes.
Alright, chapter 35. So after all of that, Raven keeps having nightmares. He keeps seeing yellow eyes, and they had run up the stairs at
Right.
Spindle House and broken her door down, and they found Oris dead on the floor. Oth is barely alive, and Elspeth is, like, really beaten, laying on the ground. Yet she is well, Elspeth/ the Shepherd King coughs awake and says that Orith deserved to die because his claw began the slaughter of dozens of magical children. But Elm is pissed because their
Right.
entire plan for this everything to save Emery was to use Orith's blood. And then Raven goes to touch Elspeth, and the nightmare snarls at him, like, "Don't touch me." Elspeth is
Yes.
quiet now. Let her rest. She set me free. I'm here to help you. And Raven does not want to accept that. So he's shouting at the nightmare for him to let her out. And then he has this realization that he can't harm the nightmare without also harming Elspeth. So they kind of have to coexist now.
Right.
And the nightmare surrenders to wait an inquest by the king. So the king is leading our destriers into the dungeon, and he's emptied all the cells except for Elspeth's so that she couldn't poison the minds of the other prisoners. And the Shepherd King had, agreed to only speak to the king. He's got an
Right.
offer for him. The king doesn't want to hear it, but the Shepherd King is like, "You know what? Then kill me. Even if I'm dead, I won't die. Kill me, and you'll
Right.
never collect the deck and heal the infection." and the mist will consume London and everyone in it. So that got the king thinking, and he's like, okay, what do you want? And he's like, the same as you. I want to collect the deck. First, you need to release Emery back to his parents. You have my blood now. So Shepherd King is willing to use his infected blood to lift
Right.
the mist. So Raven taps the nightmare card, but he can't reach Elspeth's mind because she's blocked him out. And the Shepherd King then adds on to his proposition. He says, "You'll get the twin alders. It's hidden in a place with no time, a place of great sorrow, bloodshed, and crime. Betwixt ancient trees where the mist cuts bone deep. The twin alders is waiting, asleep. Only I can find it because I left it there. Quest
So
time."
love it.
So, where do you think the next book will go?
You know what? I'm really hoping that the nightmare, once all this stuff's done, separates from Elspeth because it's really bothering me if he gets to keep her body.
You think she's going to stay conscious and alive the whole time throughout this journey, or do you think he's going to overpower her?
I think that we're gonna hear her talking to him the way that he was
Okay.
talking to her the whole way through this
So,
book.
do you
Kind of
think
like, but also I wonder if Raven will be able to talk to her in.
that's what I was about to say? So I know that in this chapter right here, it said that she had blocked him, but I think the Nightmare King actually is who blocked him. Do you
Yeah.
think that now that he knows that they're cohabiting this mind, that she's gonna be open for him? I think she'll be open for him to use the nightmare card on her, but do you think that now that the Shepherd King's mind is his own, that he'll want Raven in there?
Well, I kind of get the feeling that he was kind of like, "Trust him, trust him, trust him." I kind of wonder if maybe he will be okay about that. Because, like I said, when she was the one pushing him out and was upset about it, that's when he stepped in. I'm wondering if maybe he's not got a problem with it. Like, he's not trying to really hide anything really when it comes to her. Yeah, I don't know. I'm so excited to see where this
Maybe,
story.
but also he hasn't had authority of his own mind in 500 years.
This is
Well, at least
true.
11. I don't know where he was before Elspeth, but, like, he hasn't been the one in the driver's seat.
True, but
I don't
he's
know if he'll want another man in there.
true, but he's you said before that you felt that he was protecting her, right? So
Yes.
why would he stop someone that's trying to protect her from having access to her? So
Yep.
maybe he knows how to allow that, right? I don't know. I hope that we at least still get some Elsbeth in there and not just
Yeah.
Nightmare. I don't know.
So,
Exciting.
yeah. Did you like the end of the book as because I know you were super vibing with this book the whole way through, like, you loved it. Did you like the end as much? Did it hold up?
I kind of figured this was going to happen. I think that she led us exactly where she wanted us to go. I feel like I was anticipating this. I'm not happy about it,
Are you
but
talking
I'm
about the
also
degeneration?
what?
Are you talking about the degeneration?
Yeah, I didn't want her to give up control, but like I said, she willingly gave up her control. She's like, "Here, take over.
Mhm.
I'm done now. I'm tired. Like this is
I
I've had
bet.
enough."
Yeah.
So, would it have happened if she hadn't have given up control?
I mean, she had to. She had to give up control. Essentially, she's given him the reins so many times that it chipped away a part of her soul, I guess,
Right.
each time to where she just had this tiny little wisp of herself that was able to stay in the driver's seat. And so
Right.
in asking that help, that was her consent in a sense.
But she gave up full control. She was like, "Yeah, I'm done now. It's your turn now." And I'm hoping that we get her back at some point. I'd be really sad to know that they don't separate. But at this point, like 500 years on, what kind of life could this Shepherd King have? Will he go off into like the afterlife? Like, what would he have?
I don't
No body
know.
to go back to?
I don't know.
It's intriguing. I have a lot of questions. I'm
Well,
very
the
excited to see where this book goes.
spirit of the woods can take the form of animals, so maybe she could give him a
Oh,
body?
they
Yeah,
I feel like I
yeah,
love it.
for sure. Okay, so who was your favorite character and why?
Ooh, you know what? For a long time, it was Nightmare, just purely
Ooh,
because I enjoyed the comedic value of
I like
him,
the
and
poetry. I like the
yeah, and
riddle.
he
I love that.
talked in riddles all the fucking time, and I really enjoyed that. But I think by the end of the book, It was a toss-up between Jesper and Elm
Really?
because, yeah, I really enjoyed who they were as people. Jesper just accepted Elspeth
She's
into their
kind.
group.
She's warm. She's just
Yeah.
a good person.
Yeah, she was so warm
And
and
she portrays that
strong.
on the surface as well.
Yeah. Yeah, she totally did, and I really enjoyed that about her. And Elm kind of like he still followed Raven's lead, even though he didn't agree with it and he didn't trust Elspeth. He still
And
did
even
what
though he's the
Raven wanted.
prince and technically has
Yeah.
higher
Yeah.
ranking.
And he was doing it all to save Emery. And I'm like, it took me a while to try and get in the mind frame of why and who he was as a person. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really enjoyed
The
the two of
library
them.
scene really was a turning point for you for him. Elm is my
Yeah.
he's I mean,
Yeah. It was
I
interesting.
read both books so quickly together that I remember him from the whole story as a whole, and
Right.
I just love him, but also I like his sense of humor. Like,
Yeah.
even in the sense whenever they were in the library and she's like, "I've heard it's painful to use your side too long," and he, like, feigns that's gas. He's like, "Why did nobody tell me? I'll stop immediately." Like, he's just
Yeah, I know. Sarcasm. I'm
yeah,
English. We love the
he's
sarcasm.
sarcastic and he's smart and he's, empathetic and caring, even though he doesn't
Loyal.
everybody, he's very loyal. I think
Very loyal.
he's my favorite character for sure because
Yeah,
other
I get it.
characters like Raven, they have some of the same characteristics and attributes, but they're kind of bland. Like, I don't know how else to say it. I like the people with some wit and some humor and all of that, and I feel like Raven is lacking that for sure.
Yeah, and no, I completely agree with you. I felt that Raven was supposed to be that way. I think he was supposed to be this like disinterested thing over here, and I think we're supposed to watch his progression as his character arc goes on. I was like, okay, I can see where he's coming from. I don't like it, but I understand it. But then I saw that no matter what happened, his loyalty to his family and like not the crown, because it was never about the crown.
Yeah,
It was always about familial ties. And that I really loved. Really loved.
for sure.
Yeah. It was good. It was a really good book. I'm really, really glad that we did this.
So how many stars would you give that one out of
Oh,
5?
4.5, easy. Easy,
4.5?
easy. I think for me, the pacing just could have been slightly better, and that's the only reason I didn't get 5.
Yeah, I think the first time I read it, I gave it 3 stars. But 3 stars is I'm harsh.
Oh, you
Most of
are.
my books get 3 stars.
Yeah.
And I think upon a reread, I don't know if I'd do 3.75 or 4.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it a 4. The only reason it's not higher is, like I said, I really like twists and turns and to be taken by surprise, and I was just able to call it very early on.
Yeah.
And it was still an amazing story. I loved the riddles, the poetry, her writing style, love it. I like to be surprised, and I
Yeah.
didn't have any of that in here. Like I said, I think that's why I enjoyed the chapter with the chalice so much because that was like a that was a surprise. I wasn't expecting
Yeah.
it, you know? So,
No, I feel you. I like thrillers, so I am a psychological. I like to be mind fucked. I
yeah.
get where you're coming from with that, but I think because I went in and I'd never read it before and doing a deep dive, I think
Yeah.
it gave a unique aspect of being able to understand the inner workings more. That's why I enjoyed it so much. Maybe if I had just read it as a normal person, maybe I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. But the pacing was just a tad slow. But again, the Night and the Moth was very slow,
Yeah.
very
It takes a while
shruggy.
for it to pick up. If I
Yeah,
remember correctly, the second book is much faster paced, and
excellent.
so I feel like the first book in this is very artistic in a sense in the way that she writes it, and I remember
Right.
the second book being even more so, and not just that, but just what plays out, like, the everything that happens. I vividly remember a few scenes in it that were just so cool, so I'm excited for you to get
No, I'm
to read
massively
them.
excited. I'm so
Did
excited.
we look? Is it broken up into 3 parts as well?
I think it might be because I think when I was looking on our last episode, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah,
Well, cool.
it's going to be a
I'm
lot of fun.
excited.
We hope that you have enjoyed this episode of One Dog Window. That was part 3. You can catch the other 2 parts. We've already posted them, so you can watch them all back to back. We're going to be starting the second book, Two Twisted Crowns, in the next week or so. We hope you're going to join us for that. You can find us on our social medias. Hannah is at Instagram at the Toppling Tbr _ Hannah. I am the same at the Toppling Tbr _ Stacey. We have a Facebook page at the Toppling Tbr. You can find us on our YouTube at the Toppling Tbr and Spotify as well. We hope that you have the reading week that you deserve, my friends, and we will catch you on the next episode.
Next time.
Take care, guys.